Hello, everybody. Hello, social media world. Hello. Welcome to the grind behind the business. This is your girl, Beverly, and we have an awesome lineup for you today. I have a special guest, and she is someone special to me. She happened to be had been one of my clients, and I am so proud of her, of all the things that she's accomplishing, starting her nonprofit. And we're here to talk about the nonprofit today and also talk about her wonderful testimony. As you guys know, we celebrate entrepreneurs on the show, and we want everybody to be celebrated and promoted. And this is one of the key reasons for having the grind behind the business. So, without a further ado, let me introduce to you my girl, Michelle Mosby. How are you, sis? How
I'm
are you?
doing great.
How
How
are
are
you?
you?
How are you? How are you?
I'm doing great.
I want to really get into your testimony and get into the awesome things that you're doing for the kingdom, as well as just for the community and for these young women and children. But before we do that, as usual, it's time for
It's
the.
time for the background check.
So today, I don't know if you're familiar with the background check, but it's where I mention a year and you get to tell me something. What was going on during that year? And since you are so young, we're not going to go back too far. So I am going to call. The year that I'm choosing for you is 2005. What were you
Ooh,
doing that year? What was so odd about that year? Tell me.
2005 was 2 years after I graduated high school. Oh my goodness,
Hmm.
that sounds crazy. Um, I was learning who I was still at that point in my life. I was still growing up. I was just trying to figure out who Michelle was at that point.
Yeah. Was that
Just
an
finding
easy
me.
transition or a hard transition?
Um, I'll say when the enemy doesn't want you to know your identity, it can be a hard transition. And during that time, I didn't know who I was in Christ. I didn't know
Wow.
who God had called me to be.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're on the show today, and I love what God is molding you into, sis. So
You.
beautiful. I love your spirit, and I am so proud of you and all that you're doing. Really, I am. So let's get into it. Tell us about your educational background. What's behind that, and what presently? I know that we all have our thing, passion that we have, but there's always the okay. Well, this is how I make the money, and before everything becomes big, and where it can be just that single capital that's coming in. So presently, what would be your educational background, sis?
I actually attended some college. In
Mm-hmm.
2007, I had my son, and at that point, I ended up deciding that I needed to be a mom, and school had to be placed on hold at that time.
Yeah.
Um, So I didn't finish college actually. I've had the opportunity to be blessed with some great opportunities. I'm a resourceful person. I like to
I know
read
that's
and I like to
right.
learn. So through that, I've learned different skills and I've grown the skills that God already placed in me. I currently work in healthcare IT, which started from um, asking questions, just being in
Mm,
being in an area and being like, oh, so what is it that you do? Oh, what does that look like? What kind of education do you need? And I was told that you didn't need a lot of education. I started just working in different areas, front desk jobs, and learned what I do now. Took the time to
yeah.
keep asking questions, and that's how you learn to do different things.
Well,
Yeah.
that is great. That is good. That is good because some of us, especially in this season, there are people that are getting their education online, that are not
Yes.
even talented, don't even have the experience, and you don't know who you're trusting. But I know, based on what I know about you, you do have that experience and a great background. But let's
Yeah.
get into your testimony. I want to get into your earlier years because I know that's where most of what you're doing presently for your passion to start your shelter, that's where it came from. So
Yeah.
I'm going to begin with your testimony. I'm going to read just a little bit of it.
Okay.
In your earlier years, unstable ground, as you call it. Growing up, stability was never guaranteed, emotionally, spiritually, or physically. Like any child, I longed to be with my mother. I knew she was my mom, but for much of my upbringing, she felt more like a neighbor than a parent. Wow. You want to
Yeah.
elaborate on that, sis? Because that, I love my mommy. My mom is deceased,
Okay.
but
Sorry to hear.
she was like my best friend. There was a period where we separated, but because of abuse from my father. But never, So tell me, how emotionally, how did that affect you? Because this was at what age were we talking about?
Well, I lived with my maternal grandmother from about the time I was about 6 months old until I was 17.
Mhm.
So around that point, that we're speaking of, this is probably around the age of, like 6 or 7 when I realized that, my mom is, who she is, but she's a neighbor. She doesn't live in the house. I do recall there was a time we lived in North Carolina as a child, and I recall her living across the playground. Like we lived on one side of the apartment complex, and then there was the playground in the middle, and she lived on the other side. And you know, it was my life. I thought it was normal at that time, so it wasn't a situation where I was questioning it as much as 6 years old. But it was interesting to see, other people go home to their mom, or to say, or to ask, "Can I spend the night at my mom's house?"
Mm.
Asking to
That
spend the
was
night at my.
that really would have been weird to me to have
Mhm.
had to do that. Yeah, that would have been for me, I know. There were times she literally lived nearby, sometimes even in the same apartment complex, but just on the other side of the playground. I remember what it felt like to say at my mom's house, like a guest visiting rather than a child coming home. Often she moved wherever my grandmother moved just to stay close. But even with the closeness, we wasn't part of the daily structure that shaped me. A voice didn't carry the weight of authority, not because I didn't love or respect her, but because she wasn't one raising me. Her viewpoints carried the weight of opinion, not decision. I was my grandmother's responsibility. Wow. Wow. And I,
Wow.
I I know a lot of people who say, "Girl, I've been raised by my grandma. I didn't know much
Mhm.
about mama." This and,
Yes.
and so for me that can be a little foreign, but um that emotion I cannot understand.
Mhm.
So I guess for me it's like, okay, help me to understand that a little bit. How would that stem into the adulthood? How would that affect you, even growing up as a teenager, right?
Oh yeah. I'd say people don't realize the impact that your relationship with your mother has on you. Like if you think about it, that connection is a different thing. My grandma Peach always says like it's something about that umbilical cord. I don't know,
Yes.
but it's a connection that you hear people that have never met their mother that long for their mother. There's just something there, and I think that the absence of the relationship with my mother caused me to have a continuous feeling of unchosenness. Like I
Mhm.
never felt chosen because I felt like the one who like kind of automatically chooses you hadn't.
Yeah, yeah,
And that was just a trauma that I didn't understand, that I
yeah.
had to work through and start to heal through, and understand that she did what she could
You
at the
did.
level of understanding that she had. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, my environment was always shifting. We moved constantly. Wow. Now that is another piece of it, moving. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The moving, that, oh, that's, oh my God. Packing up
Yeah.
and starting over became a routine I never got used to. I don't remember how many times we relocated, but I do know I attended 5 different high schools in just 4 years. By by the want to move, but I didn't want to move anymore, so I made a decision. I would live with my mother at the time. I told myself there was nothing left for her to mess up. The raising had already been done. I wasn't looking for parenting, I just needed a place to be. But for real though, wasn't it more? Didn't
Of
you
course
like
it's
deep
more. Of
inside have
course.
that yearning?
Yes, yes. That was a trauma response to say that at 17
Yeah.
years old she couldn't mess anything up. That was just my way of coping with the unresolved issues that I had, the mommy issue that I didn't even understand how to articulate myself at that point. You know what I mean? So it was just me saying, "Oh, I don't, I'm grown now." Not that I was grown, but I was raised. I knew the right things to do and what
Right.
not to do. And,
Yeah.
so I felt like most of the work was done. So I ended up moving in with my mother the summer before my senior year. And then I went my senior year at Benjamin Franklin. And that's where I graduated high school. And yeah, I just finished my senior year. That was
Good
the
for
goal. The
you.
goal was
Good
to
for
get out.
you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, yes. You said deep down, I think a part of me still hope, um, still hope we would break away from one. Yeah, still hope for everything, and then it moves on to the daughter dynamics, relearning each other. We're gonna skip into that. Now, I
Mhm.
know there was a point. Now, when you moved back with your mother, I know there had to be some type of talk, some conversation that had to happen, right? Or was it that everything just was, as you say, just I just moved in and it was fine and all that, was there some type of conversation that you guys had?
Well, there was a little bit of a family blow up, I guess you would say, because I didn't discuss the decision to move with my mother, with my
Yeah,
grandmother, or anything like that. I think I was just at a level of I'm fed up, and again, not knowing how to articulate and be able to say like this is not okay with me, or I don't
yeah,
want to move anymore. I didn't know. I was vocal, but I wasn't vocal the way that I needed to be in that time. It was more of a rebellious vocal than a this is where I'm coming from type of thing.
yeah,
So when I moved in with my mother, it was kind of just like well, I'm staying here. I'm gonna stay here. I don't want to go back. And she said, okay, but we didn't really discuss anything. We didn't discuss what that dynamic looked like. And I think we kind of both had expectations that we didn't even know of, that weren't discussed at all.
yeah,
I was expecting things to be, I guess mother and daughter like.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it took
I
time.
guess because of the love I have for mom. It was like in my, I want to hear, I guess we all want the fairy tale ending, but sometimes it's
Yeah,
never like that because the emotion have been tampered with so much. There's no such thing, but you try your best to do your best to get along and to be
absolutely.
right with someone. Um, as of every relationship. And I guess as I'm talking to you about this, that's what seeps in my head is that blood. You know, everyone says the blood is thicker than water and stuff, and I really don't believe it that has anything to do with family, because it can be
Mhm.
even at a stranger that may treat you sometimes better than family members.
Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah. You said in many years, in many ways, I felt like the dog in a home that really wanted a puppy. Love in theory, but not quite what was desired. For my mother, stepping into the role of mom to her teenage daughter wasn't what she had imagined or hoped for. She had dreamed of bedtime stories, scraped knees, and being there for the first, I guess, of everything, you know. Yeah, you know, first here, do first. Oh my gosh, yes. Not trying to build a bond with a 17-year-old. And we all know teenagers ain't no jokes.
Yes.
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 Who already had routines, opinions, and history she hadn't been a part of. Yes.
Yeah.
You had to fit in, which was probably
Right.
so uncomfortable. She
Absolutely.
wished she had been there for the little girl, not just almost grown woman. The timing was off. I was looking forward, hoping to build something new while she was looking back, mourning what we never had. There was distance, there was stain, and underneath it had all lingering in a deep familiar ache, the ache of feeling unchosen. Speak about
Yes.
this. Now that's the
Yes.
meat of it. That's when all of the abandonment issue comes in, the
Yes.
rejection. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Yes. Yes. Um, I would say, it was really hard. Even the conversations that we would have,
Yeah.
even when I would express what I needed from my mom, I would say just probably until the last few years, we've gotten to a level of understanding where she can hear me and understand the impact that you know, that the decisions made on my life, And it took me a while to understand that, again, she was coming from a place of unhealing. My mom had me at 16 years old. So, I mean, at 16 years old, where was I doing at 16? I definitely wasn't thinking about, my emotional health and being being supportive for somebody else. I didn't have that capacity, and she made a decision to have a child, but that doesn't mean that she had all the preparation and the tools and resources that she needed to
Hmm.
be able to do it
Yeah,
and to do it
yeah.
properly.
Which I can understand. It can be really hard because we really don't know why she made the decision that she made and why things were the way they are. I can only hope she did the best she can at with whatever situation she was dealt or whatever card she was dealt with. But for a teenager, that can really be heartening, and
Mm,
that really creates the dysfunction, you know,
yes.
in so many different things. Now, you let's I want to take it easy because I have so many things in my head popping up right now, like, my gosh, right? Because now you're
Yes.
a mother.
Yes.
You're a
Yes.
mother, you're married, and you're
Yes.
settled, but I can only imagine triggers, things that you practice now because as a result of what you've been through.
Mhm.
Do you find a lot of that happening in
Oh, yeah.
this with your child now? What
Um,
how do you
yeah.
yeah. How can
I'd
you
say that, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Please speak. Please.
I'd say one of the biggest things is when you have a child. I think most of us prior to having children always say, I'm not going to be like my parent. I'm not going to
Yeah.
do this. I'm not going to do that. But a lot of those things are instilled in you. They are your habits. They are also your behaviors because that's what you lived and that's what you knew. If you don't make a choice to say, okay, I'm not going to do that. One of the things that I did for a long time, I've been a runner, like running from situations, moving on, leaving because it didn't benefit me or I felt like it was too much at that time. That came from my moving. You know what I mean? Maybe that's not why my grandmother actually moved, but
Yeah.
that's what I correlated that to. So whenever things got to be too tough, it's on to the next. It's time to move on, and that's not a way of living. And then one of the things that I decided based on me going to 5 different high schools is that when I had my son, I made a promise to him early on that I wouldn't move him in schools. Like he was going to have the opportunity to graduate from the same school. It got to the point maybe that I overdid it, that we've been in the same school district since he was 6 years.
Yes.
But that was something that I promised, and it didn't matter what that looked like. There's been
Yeah.
times that I've struggled, but I stayed in the school district because that was the promise that I gave to him. So whatever that needed to look like, that's what I had to do to be able to give him, the things that I wished I would have had. Like I wished I would have been able to stay in one location. Do
Yeah.
I know now that all of those things are necessary for me to be who I am? I know that, but at that time and before healing and before therapy, no, I didn't understand that. So there are
So,
things that drive me for sure.
so, okay, so I know you're a Christian. That I
Hmm.
do know. When did Christ come into the picture? Was it at your teenage stage or your adult stage?
um I'm my adult stage.
Your adult stage.
I've seen where God has moved in my life
Yes.
before I was in relationship with him.
Yeah.
But God proved himself to me in, I would say, more so in these last 5 to 6 years. My relationship with Christ has gotten close, and He's revealed Himself to me in ways that I know that I know that I know that there is a
Yeah.
God. There is nothing nobody could tell me at this point, and I know that the enemy never wanted me to know my identity in Christ because then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. He wanted me to be stuck in my woe is me, my mom hurt
Yeah.
type. I could have gotten stuck there, but
Yeah.
then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today, and I wouldn't be able to help others.
Yeah.
And that's what's necessary in order for you to, break cycles and move forward and to pull somebody else up. People can see what you're doing and say, okay, that person was capable of doing it, and I can do it too.
Amen. Amen. Because I do hear healing. I can hear the
Oh,
tone now. And there's so much I can hear the love. I can feel the love. And even I know you like even on a personal level and I talk to you a lot and I know how you have such a beautiful soul, a spirit that is so sharing and loving, right? What advice would you give to someone right now if they are listening and they've been through something? And we know that triggers happen. I mean, we had a last um interview. We had a panel discussion last week, and one of the things we talked about was trauma. Trauma
mhm.
and trauma comes in so many different ways, right? So many different
Yeah.
forms, and it's so broad. And we were talking about how it can emotionally really stain you, but there is ways of healing. Ways of going through things so that you can get to the other side. There is the other side because
Yes.
there are people going through it. Young ladies that are out there that are going from homes to homes and just living that life, carrying their kids and having to deal. You had your grandmom. Shout out to grandmom, right?
Yes. Yes.
Shout out
Yes.
to listen. Shout out to the grandmoms out there, okay? Yes. Shout out to the
Yeah.
grandmoms, but some folks don't have it that easy, right? We all know that.
Right.
Give us some advice on some things in which you did or you would advise others to do if they're going through, if a teenage person is actually listening today or will be listening to this particular episode, what advice would you have for that person that may be going through this or have this kind of shady relationship with their mother and may have had that separation? What advice would you give
Mhm.
to them?
Number one, I'd say be your biggest advocate. Nobody knows what you're going through if you don't speak up. I think a lot of times we're so quick to say, I'm okay. You're
Mm,
not, if you're not okay, don't say you're okay. I know you can't just tell anybody because there are people out here that, don't have the best intentions, but you find somebody there, who you pray and you ask God, and that looks like God. Talk to God like
mm,
you talk to your friends. God, you see what I'm going through. I'm struggling. I need you. I need you to send somebody. I need you to send a word. Um, but what you're going through is not the end. It's all
mm.
part of the story.
Yeah.
I know whether, even though I didn't enjoy the things that I went through, and even in the last, 5 years of going through the healing process that I'm still going through. I'm still trying to rebuild. I'm not perfect, but just knowing that you still got to show up
Yeah.
is what you have to do. Just show up for yourself. It takes one step every day. One step to say, I'm not going to give up today. Whatever that looks like, that one step of saying, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do something different. I'm going to reach out for help. I'm going to let somebody know I'm struggling.
Mm,
Just you have to be open. I think a lot of us in our community um, spend a great deal of time thinking about healing later instead of healing in real time. And healing in real time looks like having those conversations in real time.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's what's really necessary. I think just let people know it's people out here that want to help. There
Yeah.
are people that will show up for you.
So
It's not what it looks
and that's where the journey and the passion for your nonprofit start.
like.
That's
Yes.
where the passion came, right? You talk about breaking generational curse, but before we even move on, I have so much comments, and I have to stop because I saw a comment in here. A Mr. Krypton. He said, and
Mhm.
shout out to the dads. Yes,
Yes. That is my father.
yes.
Yes.
And shout out to the dads. Yes, dad. Listen, shout out to the dads. Yes. Because
Yes,
there are some
yes,
awesome dads out there. Um,
yes, yes,
they may not even be great with relationships with the mom, but there are some dads they will stick with that child no matter what, make sure everything is right. So we thank God for those parents and those, grandmoms who just fill in the gap and stand in the
yes,
gap.
yeah,
So shout out to
yes,
you, Mr. Krypton.
yes.
I have so much different shout outs here. There's so many people that are shouting you out. You have a Stephanie Bryant. This
Yes.
is going to be amazing. She gives you a shout out. Linda Abraham. Hey, sis. She says, hey. We have OTM Swiston. He's just shouting out the bomb. He's giving all that signs. He's there. Thanks to everyone. And of course, my girl, Yvonne. Hey, Yvonne.
Hey, man.
We got a Kayla. She says, go, Miss Michelle. Um,
Oh,
you have so many people that are here just shouting out to you and sending so much love. And so you are loved. You are loved.
thank
Yes.
you. Yes, I am.
So we're gonna I want to read this last part of it, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about your nonprofit that you're
Okay.
that it's so this part of it you have um put the heading as breaking generational patterns. I like that.
Yes.
One of the most defining parts of my journey has been breaking a generational cycle, a pattern of pain, silence, and survival that stretched back 4 generations of women in our family. These were women who were strong but tried, women who gave their children life, but not always a home to grow in because they too were still searching for stability. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
They
Yes.
carried the weight of life without even having the space to fully heal. My God. They
Hmm.
did what they could with what they had. And in many cases, that meant children were raised by their maternal grandmothers, while the mothers tried to find their footing. That's how I unfolded my own life. But when I became a mother, the pattern shifted. I raised my son, I showed up, imperfect but present, and became the foundation I never had. That was the true breaking of the cycle. I want more from my children, not just things but tools, not just a house but a home, not just love but steady peace and hope. My God, that's
Yes.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's so
Yes.
beautiful. My
Thank
God.
you.
Talk about a turnaround, right? Talk about a turnaround. So that's what
Hmm.
shifted at this point in your life, where
Yes.
now I know you and your mom, even though that was teenage at this point in the game, you and her have kind of mended things. You guys are doing awesome now, right?
Yes, yes. We've worked through those things. Like I said, when you get to a point of understanding and you're able to give the grace that's necessary, I had to give her grace. She was
Yeah,
16. You
yeah,
know, I was 22 when I became a parent, and that was a lot.
yeah,
But she did it at 16, and she had to grow up as well. You know what I mean? So just
yeah,
understanding that grace and just understanding that those women really did the best that they could with what they had. And
yeah,
a lot of times we hear people say like, I'll die for my children, I'll die for my children. But how about we live for our children, we heal for our children, we, you
yeah,
know, move away from the things that we know aren't good for our children. That's really living for them. Not, just don't just survive for your children. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because the life you lead impacts them every single day. Every hurt that you're not willing to let go of still shows up. It
yes.
just shows up in a different way. It impacts them another way. One of the things that I say to my children now, and it's not something I knew all along, it's again part of my journey. I ask my children now, like, am I the mother that you need? And I
Yeah,
think that that is important because a lot of times we think that we are doing what we need to do. We think that we're making it happen for them. But, you can buy all the sneakers, but what about if your child just wanted you to be there to tuck them in at night? What if that was the thing that they needed? What if the thing that they needed was just for you to, you know, be present, like be actually present, not on
yeah,
your phone, not just in the same room.
yeah,
What if it means just listening to things? You know what I mean? It's not easy. It's not, we're not perfect. And again, like I said, I'm not a perfect parent at all.
yeah,
I'm learning. I'm still trying, but I'm trying to show up each and every day, whether I want to or not, whether I got it in me or I don't, because these are the people that are counting on me. They didn't ask to be here. I chose them.
yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. And now that you have all of this experience in a situation such as yours and the testimony that you
Mhm.
just gave, and you mended things with your mother, now the passion has begun, which leads
Yeah.
us to your nonprofit,
Yes.
Blessed Beyond the Shelter.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
My God. That is a great undertaking, right? Now, I don't think a lot of people understand that is a huge undertaking. So, tell us about Blessed Beyond the Shelter. What do you hope to accomplish with this nonprofit? What is the main mission of this nonprofit? Blessed
Blessed Beyond
Beyond the Shelter.
Shelter is here to help single mothers and young women have the foundation that they need to make it in life. We want to be more than just a roof. We want to be your foundation for life. We want to give you your financial literacy. We want to make sure that you have job skills. We want to make sure that you have your credit under control. We want to give you everything that you need so you can be able to be self-sustainable out here in our world, and be able to move forward and actually strive, not survive.
Amen. Amen. I love that. I love that. Now, Blessed Beyond the Shelter, it's going to be a women and children shelter. Now, is it going to be a shelter that's temporary, where it's just a week, a night, or is it going to be transitional? How is this going to work out for the
It is a
mothers and the children?
It's a transitional shelter. Our main goal is to have mothers be in the program between 12 to 18 months in order for them to have time to work on those skills that they need, to have time to build credit, fix credit, all of those things. So we want to give a a window that makes sense to actually be able to get you the foundation that you need to move forward,
Now,
to
if
get you
someone
through.
was to come to your program, or when you do start or get the building for the shelter, is this one of those programs where you can initially come from off the street to the shelter, or would they have to come from another sheltered program in order to get admitted or set up in your program?
Well, once we have our building, we will absolutely take people off of the street. Our goal is to be able to help the women. If you need help, we want to be able to help you. In the meantime, while we don't have our building, while we wait for that blessing from God, we have our Place Her program where we work with other shelters to make sure that we can get our young women placed so they're not, in limbo waiting for us per se, but
Yes.
opportunity to be somewhere while we get our building.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, yes. Because I know even at our church, a lot of the ladies would come to the building when they're down and out, or they'll talk to a mother, or and these mothers or these folks within the church, they have their own life. I mean, yeah. So they don't really know where to send some of these girls. It could be at the middle of the night. It could be, so that right there is awesome, because now there's a placement program where people can actually reach out to you for
Yes,
placement for some of these young ladies. That's beautiful,
yes,
because it's so hard going from shelter to shelter and carrying the children.
absolutely.
And like I said, it can be very dramatic. So this is a great undertaking that you're doing now. I know you. What are some events? What are some things? Talk to me. What are some things that you're having? What are some, I know we want to ask everyone who's listening to make sure and donate, please, to a good, this is a good cause. And
Yes,
we know that my sister here, she has a Facebook page. She'll give us her information. But every so often, we got her information popping up, and we want folks to give back. This is one of the reason why we interview these entrepreneurs who are setting up. Not only is she beginning her journey on as an entrepreneur, but we all know you need capital to, even for a business, for a nonprofit, especially for a nonprofit. So for those of you who may be interested in helping, volunteering, her information is going to be on the screen. And for those of you who are interested in donating, you can donate her to her Venmo account at Bless Beyond the Shelter. So please give back to my sister for her ministry, because I, again, and even for the placement program that you guys have. That's a great thing that you're doing. But talk to me. What are some activities, some things that you're doing outside of the placement program? Are you guys having any fundraisers, any charitable or activities? What are we doing?
Yeah, so in November, we're going to be having a fundraiser and coat drive, a Thanksgiving fundraiser and coat drive, where
Okay.
we will give back to the community. We'll collect coats and give out coats for women and children. We're hoping to have a great deal of vendors and supporters come out and make it a great event to give back to the community, introduce ourselves. This is, a new beginning for us, and hopefully a continued relationship with all of you guys to support Blessed Beyond a Shelter. And just, whether you're giving your time, whether you're sharing a post, whatever that looks like, we just want your support so we can,
Yes.
give a bigger, greater impact to others and make some changes in our community.
Now, you had sent me this flyer about the fundraiser for November the 15th, right? And this flyer is in reference to that that fundraiser, Warm
Yeah.
Hearts New Beginning fundraiser, and this is happening Saturday, November the 15th. So it's going to be what a food drive for the Thanksgiving holiday, but it's also
Yes.
going to have different activities going on to um, build funds for your organization as well. And one of the things that you're having is the vendors wanted. So we do have the flyer posted, guys. And the information will also be there when you do, when the interview is done. But again, she's looking for vendors. So you want to talk to us about this and, some just what are some things that you're looking to have on that day.
Yeah, so we're looking to have a food vendor. We're looking to have, musicians. If there is a barber that wants to come cut hair for some young kids, that would be a blessing.
Right.
Just we're just looking for people that just want to give their time for a good cause, come out and bend, come out and be a part of the community and give back, and you know, just be a part of a good cause, helping out and making an impact.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, I know that because of what you've been through and the passion that you have presently, um, what are some things that you're doing now? I mean, apart from just having the shelter and all of that stuff, what are some programs that you're like looking forward to having when you do start, the shelter? What are some programs that you're looking to having that can help them mentally to impact them from what they've gone through dramatically while they were out there on the streets? Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. So we have we're a faith based Christian shelter. So we do have mentorships where we will have other women who have went through things to be present and to share their testimony and to assist. We plan to work with physicians in the medical field that we can help with mental health and have speakers come out to again help with people understanding those triggers and traumas. A lot of time people don't even know that their reaction is a trigger to something. If they've
Yeah.
told all along that something doesn't bother them or that's not an issue, they don't even realize that, when something specific happens, that they're reacting in a way that proves that that's a trigger. So we want to make sure that we have the right people surrounded and within our company and nonprofit to assist the people with the needs that they have, whether that looks like behavioral health, mental health, Christ-centered mentorship. God is good. He can turn anything around. So,
Telling me
once we
about it. Mm.
Okay, when you're honest with him, he makes it happen. So just sometimes, again, confessing your sins to one another is that thing. So having women around other women to see like what you went through, five other people in this room have went through, and we're pulling each other up. We're all capable of doing it. Everything you have is inside of you. The enemy just doesn't want you to know it. So we're going to do things to foster that and to show you who you are and to remind you that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Because when you believe that and you know who you are in Christ, those things that happen, they impact you differently. They
They
trigger you differently. You're able to I'm not gonna say there are not things. I still have triggers. I still have things that, sometimes when it happens, it might make me go, "Ooh, wait a minute now. That's not all the way healed,"
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
that's honest. That's honesty to say that yes, I'm not where I was in that area, but it's not all the way healed. I still have some work to do, and
As
that's
we
very
all
human.
do, as we
Yes.
all do. You don't have to go through trauma to want have some healing. There are things
Oh,
in
true.
life, even as adults, we deal with that we just need to crash it out sometimes. But then we got to find healing. So
Yes.
life be lifing. Listen,
Yeah. Yes.
life
Yes.
be lifing. Yes.
And
Uh,
when you look at it like that, when you look at it, when you get to a point that you look at it like some things happen for other people, it makes things different. I had an experience where I was volunteering, and my first day at this particular place, I met a young lady who said she was pregnant, and she said she was hoping that she didn't have a daughter because in her family there was a generational curse where the mothers and daughters didn't get along. So that was just like, oh my God, you put me here to tell my story to this young lady. She ended up having a daughter, and I believe that she's going to break that generational curse because she called it out in the beginning of her pregnancy.
you
She
know
saw it
that's
already.
that's so beautiful because I think what happens is God understands our purpose even before we understands it. And I
Yes.
think even I used to always ask myself, well, why God you put me through this? But just like you had mentioned earlier, every single pain and issue and trauma that you went through, you turned it into that purpose. But it was for a reason. It shaped you. It shaped who we are. It shaped the way we think and the personality that we have. And I think we should be
Yes.
proud of that. We should be so
Yes.
proud of the things that God is doing within our lives. It takes boldness. It takes courage. It takes
Yes.
a great understanding and love to love again even after you go through so much because every little trauma it chips away at some of that love, right? And it takes
Yes.
that's where the healing takes place so that you can heal and mend that piece back together again so you can be a whole. And I think
Right.
that's maybe the reason for you wanting to help these women become whole again and find
Yes.
stability, which everyone needs that. Everyone
Yes.
needs that. Everyone.
Yeah.
That's something everyone needs a family. And I hate to see women having to separate their children because
Yes.
they can't keep their babies, or they go to a shelter and they say, well, I can't keep your boys, or I can't keep, because
Yes.
it's so hard seeing families separated, and they can be separated for so many reasons. It's not for us to judge. It is not
Yes. Yeah.
for us to judge, but
Yeah.
to love and to open up our
Yes.
hearts as God says to do,
Yes.
to give back and to love and to show God's love through the way we give
Absolutely.
back. So I just, again, just congratulations to you, sis.
Thank
And
you.
I'm just like wishing you all the best, all the best,
Thank you.
because a lot of ladies, and I always tell so many clients that I'm with, you are the solution to someone's problem, right?
Yes.
But not only that, there's somebody waiting in the balance somewhere along the line just to
Yeah.
hear your voice. They may not hear no one else until you come into the scene and speak a word. and they move.
Yes.
There's always someone, and God has this way of strategically matching us up with those people, whether they become mentees, girls who you're probably going to be in your shelter or along the way,
Yes.
however it may be. There's someone out there, and I'm not just speaking to you, sis. I'm speaking to
Hmm.
someone who's listening out there even today. There's someone out there that is waiting for you to take a hold of your purpose, because they're waiting just to hear that voice, to test your product, or to have your services, so that they can become what they need to become, that God was calling them out to do.
So
So
true. So
let's
true.
do this, people. Let's do this. Now, I just want to ask you to give your shout outs. I know you may have board members, you may have a team of people who work with you. This is your time to big them up, okay?
Um,
Shout out to whoever you need to shout out to, mention whomever you need. This is your time, this is your forum. Do your thing, girl.
Awesome. So I want to thank my board and my mother, Shawn Marie Bryant, who is on my board. I want to say thank you so much for allowing the transparency and to be able to tell our story. And I appreciate you so much for that. I want to thank my husband and children for allowing me to chase my dream and continue to listen to all of the stories and the writings and all of the things that you guys go through with me, and you guys are walking this journey with me, and I thank you guys for being patient with me while I went through my journey and grew. And I love you all, and I thank everybody that's jumped on this podcast and supported, everyone who shared, everyone who's just been
Oh,
there and gave kind words, all the prayers that have went up. I thank you all so very much, and I thank you for the support of BBS. And I know that God gave this to my mom 40 years ago to do, and we're bearing fruit now. We're
yeah,
we're moving through
yeah.
this, and we're making sense in others' lives. So I thank you all for the support, and can't wait to do what's next and see you all there
Oh
with
my God, I
us.
can't wait to see what's next. I'm so excited for this
Yeah.
project, for the ministry, and all that God is doing in your life, for the testimony, for the healing. And I know this is just the tip of the iceberg. You didn't give me everything today, but it's all right. It's okay. It's okay. I'll
Maybe
take
I'll
what I
write a
got.
book.
I'll take what I
It
got.
might be a book one day. I'll help somebody with that book. I got to give all the details.
And when you do get the book, you come on my way. We'll
You know it.
again. Do
You
some
know
reading,
it.
release some of them chapters, and let some people know about them books. Because I know it's going to be
Yes.
good. I know there's some meat there and things
Thank
that
you.
you can share that other people may, find so amazingly awesome, and can, find healing through what you're doing and what you're testifying about, because we're overcomers by our testimonies. And so, yeah.
Yes.
Tell people where they can reach out to you. What
Yeah.
is your information, and so that if they need to reach out for anything, or to volunteer, or to donate, what can they do?
All right. You can contact us at blessedbeyondtheshelter@gmail.com. You can also contact us by phone, 267-478-2255. And we're on all social media as Bless Beyond Shelter. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, nice, awesome sauce, awesome. So
Thank
this, my God, it's already like time to end everything. And I was just really enjoying this interview. I had such,
you.
fun with you today. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for just being transparent and open to share. So many of us walk through life without sharing and hearing people, giving people that testimony of their lives. And I think we need to hear stuff like what been through, so that even in some of us, we can know that we're not in this by ourselves. And there are others that are
Yes.
going through worse than we're going through, and we're
Yes.
healing. We're still loving.
Yes.
We're still out here doing it. We're still
Yeah.
pursuing our purpose and living life and loving. And it's okay to heal, and it's okay to talk and be transparent,
Yes.
even after
Yes.
the damage and the hurt has been done. So
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
you're an awesome example of someone taking their pain and turning it into their purpose. And for
Thank
that,
you.
my friend, that's an awesome thing. So thank
Thank
you
you so
today.
much.
Thank you for the interview. So guys, I want to just thank everyone. There's so much comments out here. Thanks to everyone. If you have, like she says, if you liked, you prayed, you shared, you whatever you did to support the grind today. And even Michelle's family and friend and all of her supporters, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it's always a blessing, to have others support. And if you support the people who are on the interview, you're supporting the grind. So I just want to thank you for that. And thank you for your comments and all of your beautiful comments that you gave to her and myself. Thank you to everyone for just viewing today. Just a couple of announcements that I really want to share for those of you who are viewing. We're having the grind behind the business. We're having the breathe again soiree, and I think Michelle, you're going to be a part of this. This is going to be in Northern Liberties. It's a private location, and it's going to be on Saturday, the 16th of August. We still do have tickets, so if there's anyone that's interested, please purchase your tickets. Next week would be the last. I think next Wednesday may be the last in a time that you may have in order to purchase tickets. We have an awesome lineup for that night. We have Ivy Williams, who will be coming with poetry. We have Mercy, who will be, she's a musician. Oh my God, the girl can sign. Okay. And of course, myself, keynote speaker and host, who will be hosting the Breathe Again soiree. This particular event will be recorded. Certain parts of the event will be recorded so that we can bring it back to you, the viewers, the listeners. And we want to just share with you all of the wonderful things that happened, and even whatever ministry or a ministered word that comes forth, we want to share it with you guys. So for those of you who are coming and attending, please know that this is going to be recorded, but we're asking, the tickets are $60. You can go on BSF Business Design website. It is BSF Design LLC .com. Go on there, purchase your tickets, come and enjoy, get to share space with some awesome, beautiful, wonderful women of God. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. I know, Michelle, you're gonna be there with us at the
Yes, I
Breathe
will.
Again soiree, and
Yes.
I'm like so excited about it, because I think like this is a time where a lot of us are going through so much, and a lot, I know for me, a lot of my clients, there's spiritual warfare when you're birthing a thing. So much things happen during that period. So this is an awesome time for any woman out there that may just need some time to hang with some ladies, have fun,
Yes.
clean, loving fun, share, connect, network, have activities, have good food, drinks. This is going to be good. So get your tickets, guys. Next week will be the last of buying tickets. So go on the website, register. And I look forward to seeing you there. And without a further ado, it's time for us to go. It's time for us to go. And remember, support the grind. Sponsor is BSF Business Design. I am the owner of BSF Business Design, and I also do share the grind. And it is to promote and to just showcase entrepreneurs as yourself, Michelle. So please
Yes.
support us in whatever way you can, even if you can donate, give back, share this with your friends. Talk to someone you want sponsorship or you want to have advertisement. We are here for it. So reach out to me if you need anything or you're just looking for a business coach or a consultant. Reach out to BSF Business Design. Again, go on to our website, www.bsfdesigns with an S, LLC.com. You can also call us at 267 279 9348 or email us at bsfdesign at gmail.com. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. We have another special guest next week, a pastor, Pastor Martin, a woman. She's a singer, she's an author, and I look forward to interviewing her as well. I'm really psyched about that because she's going to bring us some fire. So come back next week, next Tuesday, same bad time, same bad channel. And I'll see you guys. And again, love having you today, Michelle. So good.
Thank you
I'll
so
be.
much.
I'm hoping you're going to be back once you do that book. So we're going to be on about
Absolutely.
that book, right?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And without further
Thank
ado,
you.
okay, guys, y'all have a blessed evening. See y'all next week, God willing. Bye bye now.
Bye. Thank you.